Coming back. I know this has been a long process. And so kind of the flow of today's meeting is we'll look at the rubric scores that were submitted in EdCredible. And then everybody should have a ranking sheet. If you don't, feel free to come up and get one. And what we'll do after looking at the data and some of the pricing models is I'll give you about 2 to 3 minutes for you to fill out that ranking sheet if you have not already. And all this sheet is, I borrow it from the state. At the state level, they just certify that nobody in here works for a publisher that we're ranking. They didn't reach out and contact you. You're not a pseudonym author for them or anything like that. You have no financial interest. And so you'll fill that out. You'll sign it. Then I'll collect those at the end of our meeting. And then once we rank and we narrow it down to our top 2, I'll talk about the school voting process that will occur at your schools. Okay? So I'm gonna scroll down. So this bottom line that's highlighted in yellow, this was the average score for the publishers based on the rubrics that were finalized in EdCredible. Okay? And so I know if you taught Earth Space, you evaluated Earth Space, Life, and then Physical. So that's an average score of those 3 subjects. Okay? And as you can see, based on the data, Savas and McGraw-Hill had the 2 highest. And then we had Accelerate and Discovery were tied for 3rd. And then Kidam was maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th, I guess. So that's how the data kind of shook out just on the rubrics, okay? That doesn't mean we have to rank the McGraw-Hill and Savas as our top 2. Okay, that's just kind of a springboard for conversation, okay? What I also did, Ms. Ellis and I, is we went out and looked at the pricing models of the publishers. And so as you can see, Accelerate's about 115 for a 5-year adoption. Discovery's 139, and then McGraw-Hill and Savas are fairly close in terms of price, okay? And what that entails is a package that they provide us. It's usually digital access and correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Ellis, an activity book that is replaceable every 5 years. It's an interactive
so it's
consumable
a consumable,
book.
sorry, a
Yep.
consumable book and digital is what is our base. That's what we will purchase if we, if funding, whatever.
So that's how the data shook out and the pricing models on it. And so what we'll do now is I'm going to give you about 2 to 3 minutes, and you're welcome to talk at your tables. If you want to get with your school or your grade span, you're welcome to. But I'll give you about 3 minutes to fill out your ranking sheet. And then when I bring us back together, I'm going to go down school by school. So I'll just call on Bruner, and I'll say, give me your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'll just go to the next school, okay? And then what we look at is the average score. It's kind of like golf. The 2 lowest scores win. So
if we don't match?
it's okay. They do not have to match.
But you're asking for the school.
I'll add a line. So,
Ryan, can you show the prices and blow it up a little?
yep.
Thank you.
Is that better? Can y'all see that better? Is that okay? And if there are 2 representatives from a school, you do not have to match. I'll add a line in for the second representative.
I don't know. Everything else.
same way as the, I wanna see something if they did the same thing with the states.
So, yeah, do it now. I got you, okay. Gotcha.
I made my estimation last night. But I added some questions. I went back to my test last year as well. That's one of my last year's questions.
And I like this one, that it's not that bad.
She's the one who's
We're used to too. I didn't make one when I came back to Carnegie, and I just found when I was looking at the information, like I went back to her form and then just found one, and I had to read it, I said, like, you guys highlight, so I would get the answer, and answer the questions. But I just did it to, just give them guinea pigs for the programs next year, and just have to do it. I like it, especially when, like.
Oh, you don't have the price up.
Right there.
I can look up y'all wanted the price. All right, we'll take about, 1 more minute, 1 more minute.
I don't know if that would be a factor that we really make a big deal. Yeah, I don't know. Students don't even know what the standards are. Mine are like, cool, whatever. Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and come back together, unless anybody needs any more time. Is everybody good? All right, so what I'll do, I'm gonna start with Bruner, and if you have 2 representatives, just let me know and I'll add a line. Again, the rankings do not have to match. So when I call out Bruner, you'll just tell me your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we'll see how it averages out here at the bottom, okay? So Bruner, if you wanna go ahead.
McGraw-Hill 1, Savas 2,
Okay,
Discovery Ed 3,
okay,
Accelerate 4, and Kiddo 5.
okay. Davidson.
Accelerated, 3, Discovery 4, Hidden 5, McGraw-Hill 2, Savas 1.
Okay. Is there another representative from
Yes,
Davidson?
yeah.
Gotcha, okay.
Accelerate 4, Discovery 3, Kidham 5, McGraw Hill 2, Salas 1.
All right. Any other Davidsons? All right, Destin Middle.
Okay, I'm just gonna go. McGraw-Hill was 1,
Okay,
and I put Accelerate 2,
okay,
and Savas 3, and Discovery 4, and Kidden 5.
okay. Megs.
Accelerate 2, Accelerate 4, Kiddo 5, McGraw-Hill 3, Savis 1.
Any other Megs?
Yeah.
Okay. STEM.
Accelerate 2, Discovery 3, Hidden 5, McGraw-Hill 1, Savas 4.
Prior.
Accelerate 1, Discovery 4, Kidham 5, McGraw-Hill 3, Savas 2. We have another one.
We get higher. Okay,
Accelerate 4, Discovery 3, Kidham 5, McGraw-Hill 2, Savas 1.
all right, Ruckel,
We have two for Ruckel.
okay,
First one is, or Accelerate 4, Discovery 3, Kidham 5, McGraw-Hill 2, and Savas 1.
2 seconds. Oops. All right, Ruckel number 2. Go ahead.
Accelerate 4, Discovery 3, Kidham 5, McGraw-Hill 1, Savas 2.
All right, Shoal River.
Okay, mine's gonna be different.
That's-
Discovery 1,
Okay,
Savas 2,
okay,
and I actually, mine's tied for McGraw-Hill and Discovery, so I'm not sure how you wanna do that.
okay,
I came up with the same number of points for both of them, so.
okay, we have to go with your preference.
You can do a girl.
All right.
You got it.
McGraw-Hill 3,
Okay,
Accelerate 4, and Savas 2.
anybody else from Shoal?
No.
Okay, all right, Baker.
Okay, Accelerate 3, Discovery 4, Kidham 5, McGraw 1, Savas 2.
Okay. Laurel Hill.
Pretty much same as Baker, so 3, 4, 5, and 4.
And Lewis.
There's two of us.
Okay,
We have Accelerate 2, Discovery 4, Kidham 5, McGraw-Hill 3, and Savas 1.
The same for both of them now.
you said they were the same? Okay, so 2, 4. All right, and Valley Academy could not make it today, but she did email me her rankings, so I went ahead and included those. And our parent representative also emailed me hers, so that was their rankings at the bottom. So based on the rankings, our top 2 would be Savas and McGraw-Hill. 3 would be Accelerate, and then Discovery, and then Kidham. So, and again, these are our rankings. Again, we're going to open the floor for any kind of discussion. If there's any disagreement on that, or anybody has a differing opinion on why another one should be our top 2, this is the opportunity for that. What we typically do after this is our top 2 will go to the school level for a vote with your teachers. If our top 2 both did not make the final cut at the state level, and they said they're not going to be approved at the state level, we would default to our third option, which would be Accelerate. I don't anticipate that being an issue, but that's why we rank everybody out, so we don't have to come back together as a group, okay? So, questions on the rankings or any discussion? Ms. Ellis, feel free to jump in.
I do not have anything for here. Well, obviously I always have anything in that. My only thing is in the rankings, make sure you consider that on grade level students. I'm sure you did. That's the only caveat we talked last week, all of us, so I don't really have anything more to say. So this is kind of how we predicted it, wasn't it?
So you
Question.
got Savas at 1.
That's correct, so,
Your number 10 at the bottom?
yep, so our
Low
top 2,
number? Okay.
yeah, it's kind of like golf,
But
lowest score is better.
This all gets wiped away next week for the school. I mean, the schools are gonna get 2 textbooks and the voting starts official. So it doesn't matter that one's 1 and one's 2. These are the 2 that go to the school.
I just wanted to share one thing, if that's okay. And it had to do with Savas.
and I'm just throwing this out there, is whenever I was looking at I showed this with my table, when I was looking at one of the units, there was an error in one of the, student lab books. And, it's an investigation that I've done in my classroom many times, and I noticed the error in there. And I did some research on that just to see, you know, if I'm wrong, or if there could be another way of doing it that would still be correct or whatever. And I didn't find any information to support what Savas had, and so I emailed Tammy and I said, here's my issue, could you confirm this? And she confirmed what I had said. So my concern with Savas was that whoever is their content, expert editor.
Doesn't know about light.
Right. There was an error there, and so that was just, and I just reviewed a unit that I was currently teaching, so I don't know if there's more of that was overlooked. But I'm just throwing that out there just because that was an error, it is wrong. So that was a concern for me. I did rate it 2, because I did like the things that they had, but that was a huge red flag. Huge. It shouldn't be. They've got too much money, too many people working for them for that to be an oversight. So,
And I know that, just to throw it out there too, is I actually gave these books to my students
Mhm.
and let them go through them as well
Mhm.
to see what
Oh,
they
great
thought
idea.
was,
yeah.
you
Oh,
know,
that's a great
something
idea.
that was
Mhm,
readable
sure.
and workable.
I will say the books that you have, not to say there's not errors in the content.
Sure.
They are samples, and so they are revising right now, actually, while we're talking about it.
Yeah.
And so they'll go through a final vetting process at the state, and so they may come in and correct some of those errors. Should they be there? No, right?
Right. Yeah,
But they are
when we get to this
revising.
point.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So,
But Neely, I love that idea of showing it to
What
the
did they
students.
say?
Yeah, I can't remember what it. What
Oh,
did your
we gotta-
students say?
we gotta-
What did your students say? They thought the Savas was easier to manipulate than the McGraw-Hill. They liked the other ones, but they liked the Savas better.
Savas was very simple,
I think,
if I remember right.
I
Yes.
think what
And
you
this
could-
was my on-level student.
right. I
Yeah, I
think that's
didn't
a
give it
great
to my
idea.
parents.
Now that you've got 2,
Yeah.
you can still do this idea.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
once you get these
Sure.
2, let the students look at it and kind of give you some feedback, especially those on grade level students. Neely, I love that idea.
so we got,
Were they just looking at the book, or did they also look at the online?
I didn't give them the online, but I gave them the teacher's edition and the student edition.
so we got
And they actually all got together. We did it during homework.
we got a question in the back real fast.
I saw earlier like the cost, and I was just out of curiosity between 1 and 2, which one's the most expensive? And now are we getting like, is this gonna be the book and online only?
It's the book, it's
Have
the
you-
consumable, and
Correct.
online only.
The price between the top 2 are very, very similar. So yeah, you're $2 difference.
Tammy, if they have a hard copy and a consumable,
No.
are they gonna get the?
There's not a hard copy for Salvas
give me
and
a
McGraw-Hill.
summary?
It's all consumable.
Accelerate again.
For those, the other one has hard copies, but which has the information.
STEM Scopes was the only one that had a hard copy book. Everyone else had a consumable.
And I kinda like.
And so, yes, if we adopt, if Accelerate was on there, then yes, we would have gotten both.
My students did it in class on Monday and Tuesday, took a lesson out of it as well, and included the online regular, going back and forth. They liked Sabbath, but they liked how it was broken up in the book a lot more than McGraw-Hill, which surprised me a lot. One of the big things that I know sounds corny, but between the website and the book, there was 4 ways to go to vocabulary
In which one?
in McGraw-Hill, which they were really impressed with, and I asked them, I said, how important is vocabulary to you? And every single kid, other than a couple that, well, no, they don't be part of anything. But every single kid
10%,
said
yes.
vocabulary was very important, ease of access to get to it, so, I'm just feedback from what my kids said. Oh, and then the nature of science, they really liked how the nature of science was in McGraw-Hill, that section versus what was in Science.
And one of the reasons they could have thought that they liked the layout of the book for Savant is that they do use that one for ELA, so that's the ELA book.
So it sounds like, just based on conversations, I think we're in agreement on our top two. Okay, so let me talk about the next phase of the process. There are 2 dates I need you to write down for me.
Hold on.
Yep, you're good. So after today's meeting, I'll reach out to the top 2 and I'll invite them back. You guys do not have to come. It's basically a community night, so teachers at your school can come and speak to the publishers directly if they want to. Parents, students can. I don't anticipate students wanting to, but they're welcome to. So it's basically an open night for community, teachers, anybody that has an interest in it. They'll be in this room. It'll be on February 29th, and it'll be from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., I think is what we scheduled. So the reason that date's important is it'll be in this room, yes, sir. And the reason that date is important is your school vote will need to occur after that date, okay? That way, any teachers that want to come speak to them, they'll have that opportunity. And so the next date is March 13th. That's when the school voting results will be due back to me. And then that's how we'll determine our number 1, okay? That will be the one that we would take to the school board for a recommendation for adoption, pending state approval, which we typically get in April. Like I said, the state's doing the same process while we're doing it here locally. I don't anticipate either of those not making the list, but worst case scenario, if they did not, if the state said, nope, y'all are both out, then we would go to Accelerate as our third choice, okay? So let's talk about the school voting process. So after today, I'll create some ballots for you, okay? I'll email them to you. I put them in alphabetical order, okay? Because what we've done today is said, okay, these are our top 2 finalists. And then at your school level, you'll go back to your science teachers and say, hey guys, come by and check out the books. You're welcome to look at them, get your hands on them. And they may have already been doing that, which is fine. They can also look at them online on our district website. I'll email you that link also. And so by the 13th, each teacher, if they want to, it's not required, but if they teach a science class, they can come and vote for their top option, okay? I'll use Pryor as an example. Let's say they have 5 teachers, 5 science teachers at Pryor. If 3 vote for publisher A and 2 vote for publisher B, then the result for Pryor would be publisher A. Okay, it's kind of a majority rules, okay? And I forgot to say this to the first group. We realize that folks are going to walk away unhappy, okay? I feel like my job, if everybody walks away equally unhappy, I've done my job. So that's just the nature of this beast, unfortunately. So I will send you the ballots out. It may not be this afternoon. It'll be first thing tomorrow, but I'll send those to you with the top two publishers. You can print those out. They come by and fill it out, and then on the 13th or before, you can do it earlier. You can say prior selection is publisher A. Okay. Any questions on that product? Oh, got several. All right. Not everybody at once. I'm gonna start in the back first.
Are we tallying and sending? Do you need to keep hard copies of the votes for verification?
So you can keep the hard copy votes when it's all said and done. I'll say send them to me in the courier. Okay, just keep them all in one spot. That way I don't lose track of who sent them. But hold them until I call for them. And then how I ask you to report the results to me is I do a Google Doc. You just go online and say prior publisher A. Yes, ma'am.
My question is about like who can vote, and the reason why I say that is I've got one teacher who's got a leave of absence because of being sick, and so we've got a permanent sub in for the rest of the year. And then I've got another teacher who I don't think she's a legit teacher. I think she's been here. Anyway, it's none of my business, you know.
Sure.
So I just need to know who's voting.
So I would say the full-time instructor. I would not say a long-term sub. Now, if that teacher that's on leave of absence, they don't have to vote.
But they can.
But they can.
Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
I think she'll want to vote.
She can look online at the materials.
Okay.
And she can even come in and look at the hard copies if she wants
And
to.
actually, if you're sending the ballots with their names on it, Are you doing that? Do they have their names on it?
The publisher names? It
No.
won't have the teacher names.
That's what you meant, alphabetical.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yep. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
thank you.
I have 6 because I have a long-term sub in the spot. So
Right.
I have 6. What if there's a tie? Do we just still tell you that? I
Ye-
mean,
Yeah, we can split that. And so if we get down to a tie, let's say it's split 50-50 on the school votes, what we then do is go to the individual teacher ballots, and that's why I ask you to hold on to them. If we get a tie, then we'll say, okay, go back to your individual ballots and say, okay, who got the most votes here? And then who got the most votes for publisher B? And then that's how we break that tie. Okay? So if you split it,
that's
Shoal.
what you're saying. In
Right.
other words, you're going to get from the school, their choice is this.
Yes.
You don't know if it's a 4-2 or a 2-4.
Right, correct,
So-
correct,
so,
correct.
Okay.
And we've only had that
Six,
we've only had that happen once, so I'm
Okay.
on,
Well, I do know that.
knock on wood.
Some grade, all of my teachers have seen the books, but some of the grade levels like one kind and some like a different kind.
Right, right, correct. And it's okay to bring them all in a room and talk about it. I mean, that's totally appropriate. I think it's a healthy conversation to have, so.
And clarification, because we have, like mine is like the other one that's the grade level, the others are doing honors classes, so their vote is on the middle school.
That's
books.
correct, that's correct. Yeah, if they're teaching biology, then they would not vote on this one. Now, if you have a teacher, let me think here, if they teach 3 math classes and 2 science, they still could vote. That would be appropriate also.
May I clarify, our classes are still labeled for middle school, they're just honors?
That's
So
fine.
Does it matter?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
Regular or advanced is totally fine. So, any other questions? I'll send you a email summarizing all this. I know it's a lot of info coming at you really fast. But if there are no other questions, I'll still be here. Oh, Ms. Ellis?
Just to clarify, because I probably was talking, what do they do for a tie at their school?
If they split, they can send that it was a tie,
Uh-huh.
and then we'll see how the district vote shakes out. And if it's still a tie at that point, we'll go to individual teacher ballots to break that tie, to determine 1 and 2. Any other questions? Yes.
Are the publishers expecting to get all these copies of books back?
No, you can keep them if you like.
And the teachers, don't use them.
Yeah, if you're welcome to keep their samples, so it's not the full shebang. So,
I didn't think they were, but I just wanted to check.
right.
Can I ask one more question?
Sure.
If we have a teacher that teaches all honors, like, and for high school credit,
hmm
do they still, would
If they're not teaching one of those 3 courses, earth, space, life, or physical, then I would say no. If they're teaching like biology or earth, space honors, then I would say no. That's just for the middle school adoption.
Yeah, the high school adopted physical science honors book.
Well, if there are no other questions, we'll wrap up this meeting. So for today, you have a sub for the full day, okay? So you can use this time to.
Oh, I'll be working.
You can use this time to think about how you'd like to coordinate your school vote, if you'd like. If there are other activities you need to address because of your time spent on this, that is certainly up to you. I know you'll use it wisely. But if there are no other questions, we'll wrap up this meeting, and I appreciate y'all's time. Thank you.
Thank you.